All right, what's the farm called?
BLC deer.
Yeah. What kind of animals do we have?
Fallow deer, but no bull now because we bought the Ty's house one time.
Yep, we took the bull to the cows back at Grandpa's place, right?
Yep.
Yep.
He has a lot of cows and have more space than us.
Yeah.
So
And the bull also had a job to do at his house.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we just sometimes take babies out of mama's cow's bellies here sometimes.
Yeah.
Or take a shot of them sometimes here.
Yep. We're getting a little too detailed there. So, what day is it?
December 22nd, 2024 or 2024.
What's the holiday coming up?
Christmas. It's almost here. Just 3 more days until Christmas.
You excited for Christmas?
Yep. It's Jesus' birthday.
That's right.
But he been born on Christmas Eve instead of Christmas Day.
Oh. Okay. So, we got a new tool here on the farm.
It's called a mule.
No, don't tell them what it is yet. Don't tell them. That's not how this works. We're pretty excited about it, huh?
Yeah.
They say stick around and you'll find out what it is.
Stick around and you'll find what it is. And there's 2 names for it. That's the only clue what it is.
There you go. I bet you haven't seen the barn like this before. It's not a lot of room to maneuver in here. Between the feed, about 2,000 pound bag of feed, and I don't know, 70 or 80 hay bales, all the way to the back. But that's winter time. We're kind of done with the barn until probably March, when we have to run everything through to do TB testing, which is another story in and of itself. I was supposed to get the TB testing done when we had the does sedated, when we were doing the AI breeding process, but there was a difference of opinion between myself and the state vet and the people who administer the TB accreditation program, and that's all I got to say about that. There was a difference of opinion that the only person that hurt is us, the producer. So that's bureaucracy. It's frustrating. It hopefully doesn't cost me, injury to an animal or anything like that, or aborted pregnancies, because we're going to have to run the deer through again when they're pregnant. But whatever, I can't do anything about it. You can't argue with the person holding the whip. Oh well. Wintertime, just keeping the deer fed, hay bales, giant bags of feed. One thing that I knew was coming was there's 4 of us here, and what had gotten a little bit out of hand is when I go to feed, hay or whatever, and of course I had the 4-wheeler that I was borrowing from my in-laws. What would end up happening is 2 hay bales on the back, me in the driver's seat, 2 kids in front of me, and then, well, if Becky wanted to go, she had to sit on the fender, which is fine. But I knew it wasn't a long-term plan. It was painful every time. That many people and that much, it's just not what a 4-wheeler's for. So, I wasn't sure what tool would be a better solution. I like having the four-wheeler because it's maneuverable. I know a lot of people really like, you know, the side-by-sides, the Polaris Rangers, that kind of stuff. My issue with them is a lot of them are so dang big. I appreciate the, don't mind the, I'll probably get sued over that or something. A buddy of mine shot a doe last night, so it's hanging in the cold shop. Anyway, I can appreciate the maneuverability and the size of the four-wheeler, an ATV. A lot of what I do is spraying with it, which is, you know, a UTV or a side-by-side would do fine, but a lot of it's in and around in the woods, and it made me a little bit nervous going to a vehicle that was much bigger. So I didn't really want like a crew cab. Well, the other thing was, I knew, you know, we're going to have 4 people with us often enough that I need a solution to carry 4 people. Also, people would come look at deer, and obviously I'm not going to, you know, load a customer onto my ATV. So we end up walking around the farm, which is okay. But the animals are a lot spookier when you're just walking, especially with somebody strange. So again, it wasn't great. But anyway, there's the old four-wheeler, and it's still good and useful. It's got a lot of life in it. I actually took it to New Mexico this year. Shot an elk, shot a bull elk. And it survived the trip. Ended up with a couple flat tires, but it survived. But yeah, anyway, so I kind of ended up looking at, I wanted to go by a Polaris dealer and look at a regular cab Polaris. I just kind of get an idea of size. You know, there's a couple different versions. Anyway, I just want to lay eyes on one of them. So I had found a company that makes basically rumble seats that sit in the bed of the Polaris, of a regular cab, which again isn't a great solution, but it is a solution. So I stopped by the dealer, and I'm kind of, you know, we looked at crew cabs and we looked at regular cabs, and I kind of explained my need and the fact that, you know, most of the time there'd probably only be 1 or 2 people in it, but I really wanted the ability to haul 4 people. I looked at a Honda Pioneer. The trouble with that is I still wanted some bit of a bed, even with 4 people in the vehicle. And I think there's a larger size Honda that was more suited to what I wanted, but then the price started to get out of what I wanted to pay. So anyway, I'm talking to the salesman at the Polaris dealer and explaining what I'm looking for and my need, and he says, have you seen the new Kawasaki Mules? So I know what a mule is, but, you know, what is their solution to what I need? And when we walked over to the mule that he was talking about, I pretty much immediately knew I'm going to buy this machine. It was like somebody designed it for my specific need, which is more and more rare, you know, these days, that something's actually designed in a useful fashion, not just a way to charge more for it. So, some negotiating and price matching and looking at used UTVs, which I really couldn't find much of a deal on the used market, partially because the prices were so inflated, you know, in 2020 through, 2023 even, that the people that were selling late model, low hour vehicles wanted a lot because they paid a lot. So there really wasn't a deal to be had. I got a pretty good price just from a price matching deal that we negotiated, and we walked away with something. So let's talk about what we got.
Repeat that.
So here's what we got. What's it called?
A mule.
What's the brand?
Kawasaki Mule.
Kawasaki Mule. That's right. We got a Pro FTX. What's that number?
1000.
Pro FTX 1000. So that's the unit that we ended up getting.
Yep.
It's by definition a 6-seater. 3 people can sit in the front, right?
Yeah, even 4.
Well, you're right. 4 could. There are 3 seat belts on the front.
Yeah.
And there's how many seat belts in the back?
3.
3. That's right.
So it can have 6 people in there.
That's exactly right.
And it can have 7 because there can be 6 in the cabin and 1 in the back of the mule.
See, now you're going to get me in trouble. 6 people. What it holds.
How am I?
So, as far as specs go, they don't publish a horsepower. It's like 80 horsepower, something like that. One of the things that I really wanted was, we have a property that's a little ways down the road that I hunt on and whatever, and sometimes we put cattle on. And I wanted to be able to ride it down the road comfortably. Just that was something that I wanted. I didn't want something that maxed out at 30 miles per hour, right?
Yeah.
Because then you're just riding it at top speed all the way down the road, and that seems like it's hard on stuff. So
And you can't drive it full speed. You can't because it's brand new.
you're right. We had a break-in period, right?
Yeah.
How much throttle could we use? Do you remember?
4.
So yeah, there's a break-in of half throttle basically for the first 20 hours. But anyway, so this one, top speed is listed at 67 miles per hour. Yeah, 67. I've had it up to probably 60. Yeah, so that was the other thing that kind of surprised me. Even running at 45 or 50, it doesn't feel like it's dangerous or unstable or anything like that. It does have speed-sensitive electronic power steering, which is nice.
That is right.
That's right. Let's see, what else? So, you okay?
I can still talk.
Good. That's just what we need. But anyway, as far as specs go, so wheelbase is like 8 or 10 inches longer than a regular cab Polaris. I think I was right. But the turning radius is the same. So what I figured was we're getting the benefit of a front seat and a back seat, more capacity.
Yep, and the bed is just the back seat.
Yeah, with almost the same maneuverability. But that's not where this situation ends. So there is a bed.
And the back
There is a bed.
seat.
I'll just.
So sometimes we can communicate it.
There is a bed with the full cab configuration, holding 6 people, and I don't know, it's maybe 24 inches deep. The weight limit is 300 pounds in this configuration.
Yep.
Which doesn't seem like a lot, but we're not done yet. 300 pounds in this configuration. Yeah, about a 24-inch bed. That also dumps. Hey, Rhett, you want to show them how it dumps? Go to the other side. There's a latch on both sides.
We are going to show you this and tell you this. It can easily dump. It can easily dump.
Seat comes forward. Are you ready?
Yep.
I don't know if you should be it. Okay. Okay. That dumps. It has a little hydraulic assist.
And the engine is just right there, so we don't even need to go in the front to do it.
You're right. The engine is accessible, and they did some design updates in the last couple years to make things more accessible and run cooler and quieter.
And so it's way easier.
Yeah. So easily dumping bed. Let's put it back down.
And now it's just like the bed now.
Now it's the seat. But here's the cool part. You want to move this?
Yep.
All right. If you need more bed capacity, there's a trick that they've designed, which apparently they've had for a while, or at least similar versions of this. But this
Yep,
is just,
it can go
to me, this is
forward.
just cool.
Did you know it can go forward?
So you do latches here, pop this latch, ready to pull.
I think so. It can easily just go forward just the way it is.
Okay, you got a little bit farther to go.
I know.
Jump
And
down.
can I put this part down?
You can try. Okay. All right.
So the back of
This side goes
the
down.
wheel can go
obvious-
bigger when the back seat is in front,
That's right.
and the back of the mule gets shorter when the back seat is on the back.
He's going to be a salesman. So, no backseat obviously now, but with literally like 30 seconds,
Yep, it can take over the whole entire back seat and make it a
now
whole
you have
entire
a bed,
bed.
that's, I don't know, 48 inches.
And it can go, now the back of the mule is like a whole entire bed.
Yeah. So now you've got the bed, the whole bed, and now the weight limit is 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Now it still dumps. There's 2 latches for the roof. That this portion of the roof
Yep.
flips forward. We
Yeah.
could do that, I guess.
And it
2 little
gets
rubber
bigger
straps, basically.
when we dump. Wow, I didn't know that.
And then you can still dump.
Yeah. And
Now, I will
we
say
can
this.
still dump.
Because the seat is forward, that gas strut, I dumped it with a load of hedge firewood the other day. It was a lot of weight. It was a lot to get this up and dumped. They do have an electric lift you can add to it. Maybe someday.
Yeah, and it gets bigger when it's like that.
Yep. All right. Well, back
But
down.
you won't want it like that when you're driving.
Anyway, I saw this mechanism, the way that it's set up, and I mean, that's exactly what I was looking for. You know, it's
That's
utilitarian.
not exactly.
It's got a big bed, it's got a small bed. I mean, it's got a big bed, or it can have 6 people and still have a bed.
And that can be just 3 people when you
Right.
don't need the back seat. So when you don't need the back seat, you can just pull it up. And if you need a bigger back of the mule, you can just make it go up if you want. If you don't.
So in typical fashion, I've already done some upgrades and improvements to the machine. I'm not the type to just put a bunch of lights on and, you know, lighted whips and all that junk. But there were some things, for example, this tailgate from the factory, I don't think I could have sat on it like this. The tailgate is one of my few complaints. The design is not very good. It's not strong enough. It's got voids for that stuff sits in. It's just not my favorite part about the machine. But I've done some improvements to it. I don't want the video to be an hour long, so we'll skip that for today, and I'll show some of those on a later video. But it's very utilitarian. You know, the seats are just a bench seat. They're not contoured. You can get contoured seats with the Ranch edition. Compared to a Polaris, this is a lot. This is, I would say, more utilitarian, a little less flashy. But that's why Red quitted. Sit up here. But
Ouchie.
that's what I wanted. It's cheaper than a crew cab Polaris. It's about the same, I think, as a regular cab, but again, I get this capability to run a full-size bed. We feed a lot of hay.
Yep. If we have cows, we feed hay to our cows. If we keep deer, we feed hay to our deer.
Yeah, and it's nice to be able to stack a whole bunch of hay back here. And then there's a platform to stand on to throw them in the feeder. It's just been really handy. Again, I've moved I've moved firewood and hay and all kinds of stuff really, and it's only got 30 hours or something like that. So it really is a good option for somebody looking for a utilitarian vehicle that can't, you occasionally want to carry more than 3 people, but you still have this huge bed capacity and 2-inch receiver hitch, 2,000 pound towing capacity, which is handy. I haven't really used that yet, but it's nice to have that ability.
Christmas is almost here.
Wanna jump down?
Did you know Christmas is almost here?
It is. So it's got back windshield, front windshield. Honestly, I'll probably leave the front windshield does fold down. It's not a factory windshield. It was from, I think, Super ATV is the company or the brand at least. Front one folds down, but even in the summertime, it's awful nice to not have the wind blasting you in the face, and definitely now in the wintertime, it's nice to have. Running down the road at 50 mile an hour is no big deal. I think if you have a front windshield, you kind of have to have a back windshield to keep the dust from swirling into the cab. You can tell this one, I thought about cleaning it up, but all right, why don't you show them how the doors work and how it drives. So it does have a, jump in. It's a belt drive transmission. It does have parking brake. It's got a high range and a low range.
It's on neutral right now. The N means neutral, but R means reverse. The H means high, but L means low.
That's right.
And the low means it gets more weight, so it goes slower.
It goes real slow with lots of power. Came with pretty good tires on it. They're not the biggest tires in the world. Front headlights, interestingly enough, so one of the headlights.
There's 2 chapters of it, low of it, and high of it.
Yeah. So there's 4 lights. 2 of them are LEDs, and 2 of them are incandescent lights. And I was told that, I guess it would be the only logical explanation, if you're going to use this for to plow snow, the LEDs don't create enough heat to melt the snow off, whereas the incandescents do. You can tell, I mean, they get warm fast. But
and we also got 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive.
yeah,
That's
it's
hard
4-wheel
to
drive.
say sometimes.
Yep, 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive, and it does have a rear locking differential as well. All right, you turn the lights off.
All right. Now let's see the back lights.
Gas tank on this side. Seems like it holds an appropriate amount of fuel.
Yeah, but it holds gas instead of fuel.
It holds gas instead of diesel. They do make a diesel version. I think it's called the Pro DTX or I think that's right, Pro DTX. Some people recommended against the diesel UTVs in general. I don't know why that is. Honestly, I have a gasoline barrel here, so it works out better than gasoline for me. 2-cylinder engine, 1000 cc. I think it's technically 999, but it has, at least in my experience so far, plenty of power.
Even we got cup holders in the front seat and 2 right here for the back seat.
That's right. There's cup holders up front. There's 4 cup holders up front.
And
2 in the dash, 2 on the floor.
And 2 for the back seat.
2 for the rear back seat. There's also a phone holder back there. I think there's 4 12-volt ports on this thing. One of which I turned into something else. We'll talk about that later.
Yep.
Yeah, there's the front windshield.
Yep.
Folds down if you want it folded down, but it definitely makes the ride more comfortable.
Yep.
Honestly, the thing that happened that really made me think I needed a windshield was I was driving down a gravel road and a truck went past me going the opposite direction, and I thought to myself, man, if I take a rock in the face, that's gonna hurt. As far as the rest of the stuff in the cab, there's a glove box. There's a little cubby in the middle where I've got my gloves.
Yep.
There's two, I don't know, you set a phone or something there, but I do wish there was a little more covered storage. You can pop the seat up, and there's a big toolbox under there. So that's nice, but the seat doesn't come up super easily.
Yeah, it's hard for kids.
Yep. And so the lack of storage, of real accessible storage, would kind of be a minor complaint. The other thing I wish it had was on the display, it reads miles per hour, it reads hours, odometer, time, whether you're in two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, all that stuff. But it doesn't have like a coolant temperature. And I wish it did. It's got an idiot light that'll light up if it overheats, but I wish it had a temperature. It seems like that should have been, I don't know, an easy enough thing to include. But so that's the Mule. It's hopefully going to live here a long time. Oh, the other thing that's nice about them is this one has a 36-month warranty. Now, I don't know how good the warranties are as far as if you have to argue to cover anything, and hopefully we don't need it. But the standard, I think, is a 12-month warranty, and this one's 36, so that's nice.
Yep, that is nice.
But we're getting a lot of use out of it. I'm a little hesitant to get rid of the four-wheeler until I know that this is going to do all the same stuff. I'll have to build a spray rig, a way to fit my spray boom onto the receiver hitch or something like that. But
yeah,
once I get comfortable with it, we'll probably give the four-wheeler back, more than likely. But yeah, so this is a new tool. If Becky asks, I said tool for the farm. And
yep, we can use it for casualty.
Yep.
But for real, we have to use whoa because we need more weight when the deal is in the back of it or in the bed.
We have actually hauled a sedated buck, which was nice, rather than having to use a tractor scoop.
And Dad,
we lifted the buck into the bed.
A gun and shooted that deer and made it go to sleep. And that kind of gun is called a dark gun.
Dark gun, yeah. So,
and there's a lot of facts about guns and things. Yes.
That's on the facts about guns and things will be a different video.
Yep.
So why don't you tell them if you're happy with the Mule, and that we'll talk to them next time.
I do love it, and today is Sunday, December 22nd. 2024, or we can call it year 2024, and this is the very second day of December, and we have to say that.
It is not the second day of December.
No, I meant winter.
Oh, there you go. Second day of winter.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when I sent that video to the weathermans because they think the very first day of winter is the very first day of December.
Okay, we have some issues to resolve with the weatherman. So we got chores to do. We'll go feed some hay, and that's it.
Yep. So next week, I think.
Okay.